They're not broke, but the clock is ticking.
Described as wildly unhappy with goals that have quietly diverged in ways that may be impossible to reconcile. But there is one thing left, one move that they could still do to turn this around.
Dan Wakeford spent 3 intense weeks talking to insiders in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's circle. And this hits hard because of who he used to be in their world. As the former editor of People magazine, he wasn't just any reporter. He was the guy shaping their public image at a massive level. He played a key role in that famous cover, where Meghan's friends spoke up for her during the early chaos. That moment wasn't random. It was one of the biggest pro-Sussex media pushes of that time.
So they've had to cut back, and Dan Wakeford has some other good numbers here too. He says the staff has been reduced from 16 full-time employees to just 5. He says they retain a chief of staff each, 1 foundation consultant.
Later, he moved on to Us Weekly, holding the same power position. In media terms, he was their guy, a trusted insider who helped keep their narrative clean, polished, and working in their favor. But now, everything has flipped. Wakeford is independent, running his own Substack called Celebrity Intelligence, and that changes the game completely. He's no longer tied to magazine covers or celebrity access. He doesn't need their approval anymore. What he needs now is something way more valuable: trust from his audience. And trust means accuracy, no spin, no protection. That means reporting exactly what 5 insiders told him over 3 weeks, even if it's not what the couple would want out there. What these sources revealed paints the clearest, and honestly, most shocking picture yet of the Sussex financial reality.
You don't show up at some random women's retreat with a smattering of people to collect a quick check, okay? You don't sell candles using your kids' royal names and titles unless you are broke. Her clout dwindled as people lost interest in what she and Harry had going on. She was gonna move to the next generation. That was the final card she had to play, Archie and Lilibet.
Let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets real. The Netflix deal, not $100 million like many believed, more like $60 million once you strip out production costs and payouts. The Spotify deal, around $5 million after ending early, not even close to the rumored $20 million. And Harry's speaking fees, they've dropped hard, from $1 million down to about $50,000 per event. Money from Princess Diana, estimated at $10 million, and from the Queen Mother, around $10.5 million, has mostly been poured into their lifestyle, especially the Montecito mansion and ongoing legal battles. That mansion alone cost about $14 million and comes with multiple mortgages hanging over it. Now add this up: $3 million a year just for security, and legal costs reportedly hitting $38 million. That's not small change. That's a serious financial burn rate. And here's the key number that ties it all together: about 5 years before their current lifestyle has to change dramatically.
Because he says the reported $100 million Netflix deal was closer to $60 million once development costs, overheads, and delivery tranches are accounted for. Sources say the $20 million Spotify deal netted roughly $5 million after an early exit. And he says Spare, Harry's memoir, remains their most commercially successful project. That delivered an estimated $20 million in advance.
This isn't about sudden collapse. It's about sustainability. The kind of lifestyle they're living right now, it's expensive, and the numbers suggest the income isn't keeping up anymore. Look closer, and it gets even more telling. The staff has been cut from 16 full-time employees down to just 5. That's over a 60% drop. That's not some clever business move. That's damage control. Plain and simple. Revenue isn't matching expenses, and adjustments had to be made fast. Even the remaining team, like a chief of staff, is a stripped-down version of what they once had. Every detail here points to the same thing: a high-cost operation trying to keep up while the money coming in just isn't what it used to be anymore. A foundation consultant, 2 executives, a UK press rep, and a US agency. That's the bare minimum setup to keep Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's public image running. This isn't some powerhouse team breaking into new markets. It's a stripped-down crew just trying to hold things together.
And he says Meghan has run ticketed fan events where attendees pay $3,000. He argues, though, neither is a sustainable business model, and that's because they're outgoings.
This kind of setup doesn't scream growth, it screams cutbacks. And then there's a detail that really stands out. Harry reportedly lacks basic awareness of everyday costs. He grew up in a world where everything was handled for him, and that mindset didn't just disappear, it followed him into life in California. Look at the pattern: the Australia tours, the constant focus on security funding, the luxury Montecito lifestyle. It all points to heavy spending without the kind of hands-on financial judgment needed to manage it long-term. This isn't just about money. It's about how that money is understood and handled. Now Meghan, according to sources, she's way more aware of the financial side. And that difference, her awareness versus his disconnect, is creating serious tension behind the scenes. It's not just small disagreements. It's a clash in how they see their future. And here's where things get even more intense.
Wants to be Lauren Sanchez. Living her best life at tour shows. She wants to be a princess who's invited to Chanel, but she's not.
The biggest takeaway from Dan Wakeford's reporting is this. Their goals are no longer aligned. Multiple insiders say they're wildly unhappy, and their visions for life are pulling them in completely different directions. Harry, according to several sources, doesn't even want this life anymore. He misses his old world, his family, his friends, and the life he had back in United Kingdom. He'd be fine downsizing, moving somewhere quiet like Montana, and focusing on charity work without all the noise. He's not chasing wealth or status. He wants meaning. That's what matters to him now. But Meghan, totally different story. Sources describe her as wanting something much bigger, something flashier. One insider even compared it directly to Lauren Sanchez, saying she wants to be living her best life at elite events like Chanel shows, moving in that high-glam, billionaire-adjacent world. She's aiming for scale, visibility, and constant reinvention, the kind of spotlight that keeps getting brighter, not smaller. And then there's a moment that changes everything. According to sources, when Meghan realized that Prince William would eventually have control over financial decisions affecting them, it shifted her entire perspective.
Harry does not want the life he has right now. He misses his family, his friends, his former existence in the UK. He would, sources say, be content to downsize, move somewhere like Montana, live modestly, pursue charitable work on his own terms. He doesn't care about the appearance of wealth. He cares about the appearance of doing good work.
That realization reportedly played a huge role in wanting out. This adds a whole new layer to the usual story. The public narrative around their exit has focused on institutional struggles, but this version introduces a clear financial motivation behind the scenes. Now, to be fair, a source close to Meghan disputes this completely. But here's the thing. The explanation is detailed, specific, and fits together in a way that makes people pay attention. And just when it seems like things couldn't get more surprising, the so-called polo drama tied to Netflix, the one that was being hyped as a major project, according to insiders speaking to Wakeford, it might be nothing more than smoke and mirrors. The project, it's stuck in development, and insiders say it may never be released. The whole production model has serious cracks. The system relies on outside creatives to bring ideas, then attach Prince Harry and Meghan Markle as executive producers. But here's the twist. One industry insider claims their names don't help anymore. They actually hurt the deal. That's a major shift.
How on earth can you have just reported everything else, Dan Wakeford, and then even question whether they have marriage issues? I mean, they do not want the same thing.
After the buzz of the Australia tour, the expectation was their brand would boost projects. But now, according to insiders, it does the opposite. The brand that was supposed to open doors is now making things harder behind the scenes. And now there's talk that Meghan could return to acting. A source close to the couple confirms it's being discussed. And honestly, it makes sense given the financial pressure. Acting is where she has real experience, real training, and real recognition. It's one of the few paths that could bring steady income again. But here's the catch. It clashes hard with the Duchess of Sussex image. Going back to acting would send a loud message that everything built after leaving royal life didn't fully land the way it was supposed to. That's not an easy narrative to control. Then come the missed opportunities, and this is where it starts to feel like a pattern. Dan Wakeford highlights deals that could have worked but didn't. A creative role inspired by Jenna Lyons, solid, stable income. But it fell apart over pay disagreements. A beauty line that insiders say made more sense than other ideas. Passed on. In each case, the same issue keeps showing up. Expectations were high, too high, and the market just didn't match that level. The gap between how they valued themselves and how the industry valued them, that gap became a real problem. Now look at the latest move, the candle launch timed around Queen Elizabeth II's centenary. This isn't just another product, it's a signal. Using their offspring royal titles in product descriptions, that's a bold and very telling step.
behavior, okay? You don't show up at some random women's retreat with a smattering of people to collect a quick check, okay? You don't sell candles using your kids' royal names and titles unless you are broke, okay? I've been calling her Meghan Kardashian Markle now because this is like what the Kardashians would have done 20 years ago. Remember, like 20 years ago, the Kardashians would like promote cupcakes and promote food and promote any little
when they were
product
also
just to stick
leaking
their names
sex
on it.
tapes, by the way, Lee.
This isn't what a comfortable, stable business does. This is what happens when there's pressure to generate income fast. They're leaning into the strongest remaining asset they have, the royal connection, and using it in the most direct way possible. And the timing? That's what really stands out. Launching during a major national moment tied to the Queen, right when emotions are high, that feels less like strategy and more like urgency. Even the rollout shows it. Reaching out to influencers with basic Gmail contacts, sending handwritten style notes, tying it to Mother's Day, it all points to a scrappy, last push kind of effort. Industry watchers see this clearly. It's what happens when a brand is running out of its big options. The first phase was massive deals, streaming platforms like Netflix, major partnerships, high-paying speaking gigs. That was the big money era. Now, it's a completely different model. Smaller products, lower prices, more volume needed just to keep up. Things like lifestyle goods, themed releases, and event-style offerings. It's a shift that shows just how much the game has changed. The third phase, it's already being hinted at, and it's the one where the lifestyle has to change. That 5-year runway isn't just a number, it's a countdown to a completely different reality. One detail suddenly feels way more urgent now. British royal family's official website still lists Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and their titles are still active. But here's where it gets serious. The Sandringham Agreement reportedly restricts commercial use of those titles, yet product descriptions out there seem to be crossing that line. And the wild part, there's been no clear response from the institution. Meanwhile, King Charles III is said to be rolling with it as time keeps ticking. Now all eyes are on the next move. The planned summer return to United Kingdom, the Invictus Games preparations, and reports from the Daily Telegraph. They all point to one thing: a push to tap back into the British market, where higher visibility and stronger connections could mean bigger opportunities.
Her clout dwindled. As people lost interest in what she and Harry had going on, she was going to move to the next generation. That was the final card she had to play, Archie and Lilibet. Now what is she doing? She's using their name and likeness and royal titles to sell a candle, and they're not even old enough to consent to being used in that way. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the big question. Does this extend the runway or expose the decline even faster? What Dan Wakeford's reporting really locks in is this. The direction isn't unclear, it's downward. And the split between them, it's real, and it's growing. Harry, according to insiders, wants out of this version of life. He wants something quieter, closer to what he had before. Meghan? Sources say she's aiming for that high-profile luxury spotlight, something closer to the Lauren Sanchez style of fame. And while those visions clash, the numbers keep stacking up. The Polo series? Not happening. Speaking fees? Down to $50,000. Money from Princess Diana? Largely spent. And now products using their little one's royal titles are front and center. That last move hits differently, because it shows just how far things have shifted. The most valuable remaining asset isn't a deal or a project. It's the royal connection tied to their offspring. There were efforts in the past to stop this direction. Queen Elizabeth II reportedly tried to set limits, but those limits didn't hold. And now product launches tied to her centenary are being seen as the clearest sign yet of where things have landed. What makes this even bigger is how everything lines up. Wakeford's financial reporting doesn't stand alone. It matches what people are already seeing publicly. Poll numbers showing 81% disapproval. Sparse crowds. A retreat event that brought in just 47 paying guests in a space meant for 300. These aren't random moments, they're patterns. Each one is a signal. When speaking fees drop from $1 million to $50,000, that's not a small adjustment. That's the market making a statement. When a major event underperforms that heavily, that's another clear message.
Well, it's interesting. I hope when Prince William gets in there, he can really shrink the size of the monarchy. Like, let's have the essential bare bones people, and that's the way to move forward. And I have such faith in Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, because they also really understand, I think, what needs to be done to modernize the monarchy and move further into the 21st century.
And when a high-profile project with Netflix gets stuck and may never release, that's the industry adding its voice too. Different spaces, same conclusion. The consistency across all these signals is what makes this impossible to ignore. Across every angle, media, events, deals, the message is the same. The brand is slipping, and it's not subtle. The decline shows up in hard numbers, not opinions. The current model, mixing charity with commercial gain, using the Royal Tour playbook, pushing retreats and product tie-ins, isn't bringing in enough to support that Montecito lifestyle anymore. That 5-year runway? If it's accurate, it's basically a ticking clock. It marks the window where something big has to change, or the lifestyle changes for them. So what are the options? Dan Wakeford lays them out clearly. First, Meghan going back to acting. That could bring steady money, no question, but it comes with a major image shift that could shake the whole Duchess brand. Second, Harry's reported dream of a quieter life, maybe somewhere like Montana. That would slash costs fast, but sources say Meghan isn't on board with that at all. And then there's the third option, the one insiders say they'll resist the most, stepping out of the spotlight completely. No noise, no constant media push, but also no big income streams. Every path forces a tough choice. Go with what the market actually rewards, or go with what they personally want. Take Harry's situation. Sources say he wants reconciliation, a return, something more grounded. But the market, it rewards the opposite. The tell-all content, the tension, the public conflict. That's what sells. If he reconnects with Prince William and steps back into that world, the entire grievance narrative disappears overnight. No more major speaking fees, no more follow-up books, no more high-demand interviews. But staying in that conflict-driven lane, that's reportedly what's making him deeply unhappy. Now look at Meghan's side. She's aiming for scale, visibility, and that high-glam lifestyle often compared to Lauren Sanchez. But what's the market giving back? A retreat with 47 attendees and speaking fees now sitting around $50,000. That gap between the vision and the reality is huge, and it's exactly what moves like the candle launch are trying to fix. Using their little ones' royal titles and product descriptions? That's not random. It's a calculated attempt to tap into one of the last powerful assets they still have.
You guys left the royal family at the beginning of 2020. Now, 6 years later, you're doing a fake, wannabe, knockoff royal tour. You're still using your titles to dine out. Now you're using the kids' titles. The kids have barely been in the UK. I'm not even sure if Lilibet has been in the UK but one time.
Now all eyes are on how this plays out. The reaction to the launch, the media coverage, and whether King Charles III responds at all, those factors will decide if this strategy actually works or falls flat. And then there's the what could have been moment that really stands out. The missed opportunity with J. Crew, a creative role modeled after Jenna Lyons could have offered steady income, strong brand alignment, and long-term stability. It would have been clean, simple, and sustainable. No need for royal tie-ins, no complicated narratives, just a solid commercial role built around Meghan's known strengths in fashion and lifestyle. Instead, the path chosen leaned heavily on visibility, branding, and high expectations. And now, the difference between those expectations and what the market is actually delivering is becoming impossible to ignore. She turned it down because the money wasn't high enough. That number isn't publicly confirmed, but the context makes one thing clear. It was likely way below what she believed her Duchess of Sussex status should command in deals like speaking gigs and retreats. The stable, grounded path was right there, but it was passed over for the higher-risk, high-image route tied to the royal brand. And now look at the results. That same Duchess brand has delivered just 47 retreat attendees, speaking fees around $50,000, and a polo project that insiders say won't even happen. Meanwhile, the J. Crew path could have meant consistent income and a clear professional identity, something steady instead of uncertain. The choice was made, and now the runway is about 5 years. But here's the real tension. Their goals have split in ways that might not be fixable. Money from Princess Diana and the Queen Mother mostly used up. Legal fees reported around $38 million, security alone $3 million every single year, and that polo series still stuck, still going nowhere. Then comes a moment that really stands out. On the day marking Queen Elizabeth II's centenary, product boxes were being sent out to influencers, some with basic Gmail emails listed publicly. Inside, candle products described using their little ones' royal titles. That timing hit hard, because in the very same week, a national documentary was airing, reflecting on 70 years of duty, service, and commitment. Two completely different images, in the exact same news cycle. One showed what the institution represents. The other showed how those same titles are being used in a commercial setting. Both existed side by side, and for many watching, that contrast spoke louder than anything else. What Dan Wakeford's reporting does is confirm what people were already starting to notice. The numbers, the turnout, the stalled projects, they all point in the same direction. This isn't random, it's a pattern. Retreat attendance down, Speaking fees down. Major production stalled. The signals are consistent, and they're hard to ignore. And behind all of it, sources say the personal side is just as intense. Harry is described as deeply unhappy with the current path, while Meghan continues pushing forward with new launches and visibility moves. Meanwhile, the institution itself hasn't made any clear public response to the product descriptions, the website listings, or the reported agreement issues. King Charles III is watching all of this unfold while dealing with his own responsibilities, and the silence is being noticed. These unresolved issues didn't just appear overnight. They trace back through years of decisions that were delayed or avoided. What wasn't fully addressed during Queen Elizabeth II's time has now carried into Charles's reign, and may not stay unresolved for long. Because next in line is Prince William. And according to multiple observers, he's already paying close attention to everything: financial trends, brand direction, and the growing gap in goals. He's building his own approach, and unlike before, future decisions may not be delayed. The situation he inherits could require clear, firm action, something that hasn't happened yet. And here's the part that raises the stakes even higher. That 5-year runway? It might actually be shorter when it comes to institutional decisions. Time is moving, the pressure is building, the signals are already there, the candle is packed, the influencer outreach is live, and the financial cushion tied to Diana's legacy is largely gone. Everything is lining up to show one thing: the clock isn't just ticking, it's getting louder. Don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Crown Clash. I post new videos every day.